I stood outside the gleaming Fashion Week tent, watching through the glass as security returned to their posts after escorting me out. Inside, Victoria was apologizing to her influential front row guests about the unfortunate disruption caused by her hopelessly suburban mother-in-law. Mrs. Chen, my assistant Lisa appeared at my elbow. The board is waiting for your decision about Victoria's brand. Tell them I'll have my final answer after tomorrow's show, I said, adjusting my embarrassingly off-brand channel suit, the same one Victoria had once dismissed as obviously fake despite its custom tailoring. She really has no idea, does she? Lisa washed Victoria Airkiss fashion editors who'd only shown up because of pressure from Chen Global Luxury. That everything she has came from you? Not just the startup capital from her husband's trust fund, which I controlled, but also the mysterious investment from MS Chen, the reclusive fashion mogul who'd taken an inexplicable interest in her brand. The same MS Chen who was scheduled to make a rare public appearance at tomorrow's show. Mother? My son James appeared, looking uncomfortable in his designer suit. I'm so sorry about Victoria. She's just stressed about tomorrow. About meeting MS Chen? I smiled slightly. Yes, I imagine she is. She's worked so hard, he said loyally. This international distribution deal would mean everything to her. Through the glass, I watched Victoria demonstrate her authentic luxury vision to a group of journalists. The same vision that had transformed my son's inheritance into a collection of overpriced, poorly made clothes with enormous logos. Her numbers for the Asian market projection, Lisa began, are completely fabricated, I finished, just like her claims about sustainable manufacturing. My phone buzzed, the Chen Global Board requesting my presence at their emergency meeting. Victoria's Fashion Week show wasn't just about impressing critics. It was her final chance to prove her brand deserved international backing. She thinks the deal is guaranteed, James said worriedly. She's already started planning the expansion. Has she? I watched Victoria dismiss a young designer who dared to question her production methods. How interesting. Inside the tent, Victoria was holding court about her journey to luxury. The same journey that had started with her discovering James had a trust fund and ended with her spending millions of my investment on influencer parties instead of quality control. The preview numbers are concerning, Lisa reported as we walked to my car. The craftsmanship issues we flagged are worse than expected. I checked my phone, where photos of unraveling seams and peeling logos were flooding our quality control chat. The Asian market will never accept this level of work, Lisa confirmed. Not at these prices. I thought of the original business proposal that had caught my attention, a sustainable, ethically produced fashion line celebrating craftsmanship and heritage. Somewhere between funding and execution, Victoria had transformed it into yet another fast fashion brand masquerading as luxury. Mrs. Chen, the head of our Asian distribution network, was calling about tomorrow's announcement. Let's see how the show goes, I said, watching Victoria pose for photos in a dress that cost $50 to make and was priced at $5,000. I think tomorrow will be very educational. Back in my office, Lisa laid out the latest reports. She's violated every principle of the original investment agreement: sustainability, ethical labor, quality standards. But she's got excellent Instagram numbers, I noted dryly, scrolling through her inflated engagement metrics. My phone buzzed again. The Fashion Week organizers confirming tomorrow's schedule. Victoria had insisted on closing the week, certain that MS Chen's anticipated appearance would guarantee headlines. Your outfit for tomorrow? Lisa asked. Something appropriately suburban. I smiled, thinking of Victoria's horror at my embarrassing preference for understated elegance over obvious branding. Through my office windows, I could see the Fashion Week tents lighting up as evening approached. Victoria was still inside, probably rehearsing tomorrow's speech about her authentic luxury vision. The board wants to know if we should prepare the rejection statement. Lisa checked her tablet. Not yet, I said, watching young influencers pose with Victoria's overpriced bags. Let's see if tomorrow's show teaches her anything about real value. My phone lit up with a text from James. Victoria's freaking out about meeting MS Chen. Says everything depends on making the right impression. If only she put this much effort into actual quality control instead of cultivating the right social media image. The real numbers? Lisa handed me the final analysis. Show what we suspected. I confirmed, noting how Victoria's projected sales relied entirely on inflated prices and influencer marketing. No sustainability, no craftsmanship, no authentic luxury, just expensive fast fashion with big logos. Exactly what you started Chan Global to fight against, Lisa noted. I built my company on principles Victoria would consider hopelessly old-fashioned. Quality over quantity, craftsmanship over branding, authentic luxury over social media hype. The same principles she dismissed as too suburban for her vision. My phone buzzed one final time, the Chen Global Board's last appeal. Are you sure about tomorrow? Through my window, I could see Victoria leaving the tent, already planning how to impress the mysterious MS Chen. The same MS Chen she'd had security removed from her show for looking too suburban. Yes, I replied, thinking of all the lessons tomorrow would bring. I'm quite sure. Sometimes the most expensive education comes from learning what real value means, and sometimes the most important lessons about luxury come from the people you consider too suburban to understand it. Lisa. I call as she prepared to leave. Make sure my embarrassingly off-brand suit is ready for tomorrow. The one Victoria said was obviously fake. That's the one. I smiled, imagining tomorrow's revelations. I think it's perfect for meeting the brand's owner, don't you? The morning of Victoria's Fashion Week show dawned with controlled chaos. From my private viewing room above the tent, I watched her direct staff with the kind of attention to detail that had never made it into her actual clothing production. Everything must be perfect for MS Chen, she commanded, adjusting a model's logo belt. This is our moment to prove we're real luxury. Lisa appeared at my elbow with the latest quality reports. 3 dresses have already split their seams during rehearsal. But the logos are perfectly centered, I noted dryly, watching Victoria fuss over brand placement, priorities. My phone buzzed with updates from our Asian market team, counterfeiters already replicating her designs. Hard to tell fakes from originals due to similar quality issues. The irony wasn't lost on me. Victoria had spent millions creating luxury pieces that were functionally identical to their knockoffs. Mother. James found me in my viewing room. Victoria's looking for MS Chen. Apparently, they're supposed to meet before the show. Are they? I studied a rack of Victoria's clothes, each piece showcasing exactly what was wrong with modern luxury. All surface, no substance. She's nervous, James confided. Says everything depends on impressing Chen Global today. Through the glass, I watched Victoria practice her speech about her authentic luxury vision, while wearing a dress that would fall apart after 3 washes. The press is arriving, Lisa reported. They're all here because Chen Global demanded it. I finished. Not because they believe in the brand. Victoria had spent more on influencer marketing than quality control, more on logo design than craftsmanship. Now she was about to learn the true cost of those choices. Mrs. Chen, the head of our Asian distribution, called again. The board needs your final decision before the show starts. I watched Victoria dismiss a seamstress's concerns about structural issues in the finale dress. Let's see how she handles the next hour. The tent filled with fashion editors, influencers, and luxury buyers, all required to attend by their Chen Global advertising contracts. Victoria fluttered between them, dropping hints about MS Chen's imminent arrival. The anticipated guest will be here soon, she'd assured everyone. Then you'll all understand why we're the future of luxury. Speaking of guests, James frowned. Why aren't you sitting in the front row? Victoria reserved a seat for family. Did she? I smiled, remembering yesterday's escort out. How thoughtful. The lights dimmed for the show's start. Victoria grabbed the microphone for her opening speech, radiant in her confidence that MS Chen's appearance would validate everything. Today marks a new chapter in luxury, she began. When MS Chen arrives. MS Chen is already here, I said quietly, standing in my viewing room. Has been all along. Below, Victoria continued. Our partnership with Chen Global proves that true luxury is about more than logos. I murmured, nodding to Lisa. Let's see if she really believes that. The first model walked out, wearing a dress that retailed for $3,000 but cost less than $100 to make. The influencers raised their phones, dutifully capturing content they were paid to create. Everything's perfect, Victoria whispered to James in the front row. Now we just need MS Chen to arrive. Lisa handed me my tablet, displaying a single message, Proceed. I thought of Victoria's original pitch: sustainable, ethical, authentic. Then I looked at what she actually created: fast fashion masquerading as luxury, all marketing and no substance. Mother. James appeared in my viewing room again. Victoria's getting worried. MS Chen was supposed to be here by now. Was she? I stood straightening my embarrassingly suburban suit. How interesting. The show reached its halfway point. Victoria was visibly panicking, her perfect facade cracking as she checked her phone repeatedly for news of MS Chen's arrival. Perhaps, I told James gently, it's time for MS Chen to make her appearance. His eyes widened as understanding dawned. You're the embarrassingly suburban investor your wife had security removed yesterday? I smiled. Yes. Below, Victoria was desperately trying to maintain control as a seam split visibly on one of her dresses. The influencers' cameras caught everything, their paid enthusiasm turning to genuine interest in the unfolding drama. It's time, I told Lisa, heading for the stairs. Mother. James caught my arm. Be gentle. Gentler than having security remove her mother-in-law from a show? I asked quietly, or gentler than wasting her husband's inheritance on fake luxury? Victoria was near tears when I reached the main floor, still searching the crowd for MS Chen. Around her, fashion editors were already drafting scathing reviews of her poor quality control. Victoria, I called softly. She turned, then froze in horror as Lisa handed me the tablet displaying Chen Global's logo. No, she whispered. Yes, I confirmed. Though I'm surprised you want me here, given yesterday's security escort. The room fell silent as understanding rippled through the crowd. Victoria's perfectly curated world was about to meet reality, and reality was wearing a suburban channel suit. But you're just, she stammered. The owner of Chen Global Luxury, I suggested. The investor you've been desperate to impress. The one whose security removed her yesterday for not looking expensive enough. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come from our most expensive mistakes, and Victoria was about to learn just how expensive her mistakes had been. Shall we discuss your authentic luxury vision? I asked quietly. Or should we start with your quality control issues? The aftermath of Victoria's Fashion Week revelation unfolded like a couture dress being carefully unpicked. In her private office behind the runway, she sat perfectly still, her designer outfit suddenly feeling as fake as her brand's luxury claims. The international distribution deal, she whispered, is contingent on meeting Chen Global's quality standards. I finished, laying out photos of split seams and peeling logos. Standards you've consistently ignored in favor of marketing. I thought luxury was about image, she managed, about exclusivity. Luxury, I corrected gently, is about value. Real value, not perceived. Something you might have learned if you'd ever asked about my little suburban business instead of dismissing it. James stood quietly in a corner, watching his wife's carefully constructed world realign itself. Your original proposal, I continued, promised sustainable manufacturing, ethical labor practices, authentic craftsmanship. Instead, you gave us fast fashion with inflated prices and oversized logos. The influencers said. Influencers don't build lasting luxury brands, I interrupted. Craftspeople do. Like Maria, the seamstress you fired for questioning your quality control. Victoria flinched, remembering how she dismissed the veteran craftswoman's concerns. However, I pulled out a new contract. Chen Global is willing to offer you one last opportunity. Her head snapped up, hope warring with humiliation. 3 months, I explained. Complete reboot. You'll work alongside our craftspeople, learn every aspect of authentic luxury production. No shortcuts, no influencer campaigns, no logos. But my brand needs to be more than just your name in an expensive font, I finished. It needs to be something worth wearing. Outside, we could hear the fashion press having a field day with the story. Fast fashion fraudster faced by real luxury legend. Victoria's carefully curated social media was exploding with the news. Why did you invest in me? She asked finally. If you knew I was doing it wrong. Because I saw potential, I said simply. In your original vision, before you got distracted by influencer metrics and logo size. James stepped forward, taking his wife's hand. Take the offer, Vic. Learn from Mom what I should have taught you about real value. 6 months later, Victoria stood in Chen Global's main atelier. watching master craftspeople work on her new collection. Her perfectly manicured hands were now slightly callous from learning traditional techniques. A silk supplier from Kyoto called, she told me, checking her production notes rather than her Instagram. They're willing to work with us if we meet their ethical standards. And will we? We'll exceed them, she said firmly. I've been studying their traditional methods, if we combine them with modern sustainable practices. I smiled, remembering the woman who once thought luxury meant just adding zeros to the price tag. Your new collection samples, Lisa announced, bringing in a rack of clothes that looked deceptively simple until you noticed the exquisite craftsmanship. No logos? I teased gently. The quality speaks for itself, Victoria replied, running her fingers over a perfectly executed seam. Though I never understood that when I was just trying to look expensive. Her new Fashion Week show was a quiet affair. No influencers, no huge logos, no artificial hype. Just impeccably made clothes that whispered quality instead of shouting status. The Asian market distribution deal is approved, I told her after the show. They recognize authentic luxury when they see it. Victoria smoothed down her suburban suit, one she'd made herself during her retraining. I owe you an apology, many apologies. You owe yourself one too, I suggested, for thinking you needed to be something else to have value. The fashion press called her transformation the return to real luxury. Her social media followers dropped, but her waiting list for bespoke pieces grew. Real customers replaced paid influencers, craftsmanship replaced marketing budgets. Ready for the board meeting? I asked one morning, finding her reviewing quality control reports. She straightened her jacket, beautifully made, quietly elegant, completely logo-free. Ready to show them what real luxury means. Sometimes the most valuable transformations come from our most humbling moments, and sometimes real luxury is found not in how expensive something looks, but in how genuine it is. By the way, I told her as we headed to the meeting, security called. They wanted to confirm they should never remove anyone from our shows again. Victoria smiled, finally understanding that true value rarely needs to announce itself. No, she agreed. You never know who might be wearing Suburban Channel. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't in proving someone wrong, but in teaching them how to be authentically right.